Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you are new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Also, click on that bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube around 4 p.m. Central Time, or outside of my live streams, you can consider joining the Discord I created. There is a link for that down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. A lot of times people will ask me what foods I am eating to help me lose weight, and that Pinterest board is a great place to see some examples of those foods. Today is day 934 of my challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 258 pounds so far, I believe. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you are succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing to succeed. And if you're struggling, let us know what's causing your struggles. Maybe there's something we can help you with. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing or that you can do that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Let's go over to the main screen here. Hello. I hope everybody had a great Tuesday today or had a wonderful day today. I know I had a pretty relaxing evening last night. I ended up falling asleep fairly early. I was just tired and not feeling great. So after I put the kids to bed last night, I went and laid down, and I got lots of sleep last night, or I went to bed a lot earlier than I normally do, I guess. So that was actually kind of nice to get a little bit of sleep last night. So that was good. I'm trying to think if there was anything else from last night. Other than that, I don't think there was. I will go ahead and go over food here real quick. Now, yesterday was Monday, which usually means Mega Veggie Chili Monday, but we decided to Jay here says losing weight can be exhausting. Sometimes I suppose it can be exhausting. Yeah, I think just the busyness of the weekend and the day yesterday had caught up with me, and I just needed to get some sleep. But yes, it can be exhausting losing weight. Let's see here. So food since yesterday did not have our Mega Veggie Chili Monday, but we did have one of our regular meals, which is the polenta with no white beans again. I'm going to have to give Carrie a hard time. I didn't even notice that there wasn't white beans in it until this morning, or till right now, actually, looking at the photo. Yeah, our polenta with white beans and mushrooms. We don't always make it with white beans. Sometimes we skip that, and we did last night. So that was our dinner for last night. I don't know how I ended up not taking a photo of my breakfast today, but this is my breakfast yesterday, which is the same as my breakfast today, which was our rolled oats and steel cut and oat groats with mushrooms, onions, and spinach, our kind of standard breakfast. Jay says that the dinner last night looks delicious. Yeah, I really enjoy this dinner. We have had it quite a bit though, and so it does. It is something that I'm betting. Carrie last night was even kind of saying something about there was something off about dinner last night, and we hadn't even noticed that there wasn't beans in it. but yes, there's no white beans in it. Jay says the oats would be dinner dish for you. Yeah, you can eat that at any time of the day. Something, one of the reasons why we started eating a savory breakfast was after I read the Chef AJ's book, The Secret to Ultimate Weight Loss. She talks a lot about having vegetables for breakfast and the success that some of the people she knows found from having vegetables at breakfast. So that's kind of why we switched from having our sweet breakfast. We used to have our oatmeal with bananas and apples and apple juice, and we switched it over to a more savory breakfast. And we've been enjoying that for a while now. It's been, gosh, it might be a year now that we've been doing that, but it's been quite a while. It's been at least 6 months that we have been doing that vegetables for breakfast, or not having so much sweet in the morning. Then today for lunch, I have my standard potatoes, golden potatoes with broccoli, and then I put a bunch of the teriyaki balsamic vinaigrette from California Balsamics, and that was my lunch today. So, wrong photo here. Let me click on this here. So, yeah, great food in the last 24 hours. Audio is in and out. Let me see if I can fix that. If anybody else is having issues too, let me know. That usually fixes the audio problem. Let me know if there is still any issues. Pretty Girl's mom here says at least a year, John, because when you started watching me in March of last year, you were eating that way. Yeah, I'd have to see. I don't know how long ago it was since I started that, since I read that book. But yeah, that's when we started doing that. So yeah, it might have been over a year, which like I said, I've been enjoying it. I don't miss having fruit for breakfast. I still eat fruit throughout the day or in the evenings, but have more I don't start my day with something sweet, which I've been enjoying that. Let's see. Monique here says, so happy for you and all you're achieving. Congrats. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm really happy with how things have been going. I think I put it in the title today. In the past month, I've been able to lose 8.8 pounds, which is awesome. And that's with my weigh-in coming up tomorrow. I'm not expecting a huge or any weight loss tomorrow, but I'm expecting to maintain the weight I have at so far. Let's see here. Pretty Girl's mom says you're working out right now. That's awesome. Pretty Girl's mom says, remember how you were scared of the Instapot? You were scared of the Instapot. Yeah, it can be daunting, I suppose. I got to take this. Hold on a second, guys. I will be right back in just a few minutes. All right, I am back. Sorry, guys. Had some guys come back from a job that I had to let them into the building here, and I knew they might come back during stream, and they did. So sorry about the delay there. I hope I didn't lose everybody here, but let me see. Says Carrie. It looks like Carrie showed up. Did I get a call or something? No, I did not. Had some guys show up, but yes. Let's see. Jay here says, can you skip breakfast on weekends to lose more weight? Yeah, it's potential. It's possible. There's a lot of things I could do to lose my weight faster than I am losing it now. My big goal about this whole challenge has been the sustainability of my diet. And so there is absolutely opportunities where I could do that. But I feel that a lot of times, and I did this throughout the last 2.5 years that I've been doing this, where I've skipped meals or I've fasted before my weigh-in. And really at the end of the day, all I'm doing is putting myself in a position where I have less volume of food in my stomach. And so the difference between 1 week and the next week ends up being the volume of that food that I skipped eating, or, what would be left of that, the effect of having that food. So, and then what I end up doing then is I end up chasing a weight loss, and I have to continue to skip more meals to get that same weight loss the next week. So for example, if I skip breakfast on Saturday and Sunday, come Wednesday, the overall volume of food in my digestive system might be 1/4 pound less, 1/2 pound less, because I skipped those 2 meals. Then I weigh in, I see that 1/4 pound loss, or I see that inflated loss because of the lower volume. And then the next weekend rolls around, and in order for me to continue to see that, the weight loss from the reduction in volume, I have to continue to reduce that volume. And I didn't, in the past, I wasn't doing it by skipping breakfast. What I would do is I would end up skipping dinner the night before the weigh-in. And so on Tuesday night, I wouldn't have dinner. And so I would weigh less on Wednesday, but then I would go back to eating my regular volume of food. Come Friday, I'd gained all that weight that I lost because I didn't eat on Tuesday. So then the next week comes up, Monday, I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, now I have to skip dinner and lunch on Tuesday in order to see a weight loss. And so I found that doing that causes me to focus too much on the weight loss in a negative way. And it gets me back into that restrictive mindset that I'm really trying to get away from. And I want to be able to eat the fill of food that I want to eat and be a healthy weight at the same time. So it's something where I could do those things. I believe I would see a temporary, benefit from doing that, but I don't know that that's going to sustain what I'm trying to do. So that's why I've gone away from skipping meals, and your body is going to keep food in its system to digest as well. So even if I don't eat, what that means is that my body then doesn't push through the last thing I ate, and it's just going to digest that for longer. And unless I decide to do like an extended fast again. So, which I'm not planning on doing at this time. Oh, okay. That's how you learned how to use the Instapot, was by making the oats in the Instapot. Yes. And, I really am so happy we use the Instapot, and it's easy to just throw some potatoes in it and just make potatoes. Like the other day, Carrie was running around all afternoon, and I knew that if she came home and there was Instapot full of potatoes, that she'd be happy because there'd be something to eat when she got home. Let's see here. Zen here says, you've been doing intermittent fasting with a 5-hour window and eating the basic rice diet of rice and fruit. You lost 12 pounds so far in 20 days. Think most of it was sodium loss. Yeah, I mean, if you can get rid of the sodium in your diet and keep the sodium out, I'm a huge fan of doing that. That's been a big key for my, I feel, weight loss, is keeping that sodium out of my system, because as soon as I have even a little bit of sodium, I feel that I gain weight. I gain, my body retains fluid as soon as I have a little bit of sodium. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of weight loss initially with most any diet that you do, because most of the time when you do something like, doing a diet, you're drastically changing what you eat, and just getting away from what you were eating before is going to cause you to lose weight. The food I was eating was absolutely keeping me inflated, keeping my weight up higher than it even needed to be by the fluid retention and things like that. But the thing with the diet you're doing, are you done with the rice and fruit? Are you continuing to do it for an extended period of time here, or what's your goals with it? Because I those doing I did a water fast. I water fasted for 40 days, and I know that it's not possible for everybody to do a water fast and be able to do it for that length of time. But I would encourage you to do some sort of drastic change to your diet, like doing a water fast, or doing a mono diet for a short period of time, or doing a juice diet, or doing like I said, mono diet, like the rice and fruit. Create this very limited diet and use that period of time as a reset to get away from what you used to eat and to develop and grow into what you're going to eat for the rest of your life. And that's what I did with my water fast. Was the way I ate before my water fast was drastically different than the way I ate afterwards. And that was my goal during my water fast, was to continue to educate myself, to learn a better way of eating than I had been eating. And that's when I found a whole food plant-based diet. And so I used the water fast as a way to reset my diet from my old diet to a new, better diet. And that's what I would suggest anybody that wants to do a fast or a mono diet or a juice, all juice kind of cleanse things, is to recognize that those things have a place in your diet, but the best use for them is as a tool to transform your diet. If you have, I think Jay asked me, do I drink coffee or tea? I don't drink coffee or tea. But if you are somebody who drinks coffee, I think that a great opportunity to get rid of that coffee addiction is to do a short fast, do a mono diet for a few days, so that you can deal with that withdrawal of the caffeine and then go back to eating regular diet with, without caffeine, or without tea, or without sugar, or without salt, whatever is in your diet that you're thinking, I need to get rid of this. Then maybe doing a short mono diet or short drastic change to your diet so that you can reset and start over. And that's what I feel like I did. So Jay says, never from your cold, dead hands. And if you're okay with drinking coffee and having coffee, if you don't feel like it's affecting your weight loss, then that's fine. I'm not that concerned about drinking regular coffee or regular teas. when people start adding the creamers and the sugars and all of the other things that they add to coffee, that's where that really gets messed up. And for me, another thing that I didn't realize before starting this with coffee is that coffee doesn't give you energy. Coffee just blocks the receptors in your brain from receiving the tired signal. So it's that you're not actually giving yourself energy. You're just deadening the nerves that let you know that you're tired. Tammy here says you're going to get off the caffeine train. It isn't taking you where you want to go. Yeah, that's what I had to do with a lot of things throughout this diet that maybe weren't as addictive as caffeine is, but the nut butters, I really loved having the nut butters, but they weren't helping me get where I wanted to go. The Ezekiel bread not helping me get where I wanted to go. For a while there, I was drinking those bubblies or the carbonated waters that had sweeteners in them. And even though they're 0 calorie, I really didn't feel right drinking them. I didn't feel like it made me feel weird drinking them, or it made me feel like my body didn't, it was hindering my weight loss. It was messing with me. So I cut those things out. And it's just been a constant listening to my body and making adjustments because of the response I get from trying these foods. And I, by keeping a tab on myself for the last 930 plus days, I've been able to get a much better understanding of when I feel right and when I feel wrong. And prior to starting this diet, I didn't pay attention to my health. I was always feeling, there was always some level of dread or yuck or grossness that I felt in my body before. And now that I've cleaned up my diet and I feel so much healthier, I notice when I have something that's not on my diet, or I notice when things aren't feeling right. It just, I can, because I don't have a constant feeling of feeling gross, I can tell when things are a little bit off. And I covered a few of these things, but one of the things I wanted to talk about today was the effectiveness of my diet and why I feel like my diet is effective, why it's helped me to lose weight. And if you've listened long enough, you probably know the first thing I'm going to say is calorie density. And the fact that I'm not hungry. I don't get myself to a point of hunger. And so it's never a signal that my stomach is sending to my brain for my brain to misinterpret. In the past, I would get cravings. I'd go on these crash diets where I was barely eating any food, and I'd constantly have cravings. My brain would constantly be trying to push me towards eating junk foods or going off my diet for any reason. Oh, we can celebrate for this. Oh, you just lost this much pounds. Whatever reason my brain could give to feed the hunger it would give. And with this diet now, my stomach doesn't send a signal to my brain constantly saying we're hungry, and then my brain then interprets that hunger and turns it into these ridiculous cravings. And so that to me is a huge part of this diet, is that I get to eat a large volume of food. My stomach is always or not my stomach, but my digestive tract is always breaking down food. It's always utilizing the energy that I have fed it. And so it doesn't have to send a signal to my brain to say, send more food, because I'm continually giving it more food. And the food that I'm giving it is just very low calorie dense foods. And by lowering the calorie density, I get to feed into my natural instinct to eat a large volume of food. And then I keep the calories in check by keeping it low in density. And I'm seeing incredible success from it. And I'm so happy. You know, I've lost 8.5 pounds in the last month, and I'm 30 plus months into this. You know, it's not like, oh, this is month 3 and I lost 8 pounds, you know, or month 10, still losing 8 pounds. This is month 33 or 32 or something, where I'm losing weight, and I've lost pounds of weight in the past month. And it's not been a struggle for me to lose this weight. I'm not up at 5 a.m. going to the gym or doing, you know, these crazy workouts or restrictive diet. You know, I get to eat a large volume of food, and I love it. Jay here says you had Ukrainian parents. You grew up eating lots of bread and butter, more even baked homemade bread. Now just bread and butter memories. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I can remember having, it's and it's different too, you know, like what they ate, they were able to eat and to not gain weight because it wasn't in excess, you know, like if we had the same access to the food that people did 100 years ago, then we would likely be the same size those people were. But because of all the processing that they've done to food and the accessibility they've given us to this food, and then also the memories that you have tied to it, you know, like you think of fond memories when you think of bread and butter, and those companies know that, so they found ways to get more bread and butter in front of you, because even though it isn't the same bread and butter you had as a kid, if they can make you think of that memory from when you were younger, then they can get you to eat their foods. And you know, it's tough, you know, and that's something that I didn't have it on my list, but another reason why I feel like my diet is effective is because I'm not being marketed to. There's nobody from the potato industry that's trying to get me to buy more of their potatoes. There's nobody from the broccoli industry trying to get me to buy more broccoli. The oat company doesn't care that I'm buying their oats. You know, but and everything that I buy, it's in clear packaging. Like I get to see the actual thing I'm purchasing. It's not hidden behind a box with labeling and marketing and all of the tricks that they use to get you to buy the products. I feel that by removing myself from the standard food system that I was deeply into, that I've been able to keep on this diet. And because once they get you to try a little bit of their processed stuff, then you're trying the next level of processed stuff, and then the next level. You know, it's really tough to stay away from all of that dopamine stimulating stuff that they have on the shelves. Cindy here says you get farmer's bread, which is a 9-grain 3-seed bread from the bakery down the street. You store it in the freezer and you have a veggie sandwich every other week. And that's great. You got it in the freezer, and you know, I know a lot of people do that with like the mango. If you like dehydrated mango, I've heard of people doing that. Jay says oatmeal is now sky high in Pennsylvania. Is it expensive? I guess I haven't noticed the price of it around here, but I don't keep my eye that close on it. I wonder what would make it get more expensive. You know, maybe if there's less supply of it or what, but that's crazy. Yeah, what was I talking about? Effectiveness of my diet. The other thing, and I talked a little bit about these other things already, I feel like, but another reason why I feel like my diet has been more effective than any other diets that I've done in the past is because um, because I continued to educate myself. I didn't just do all of the research beforehand. I feel like I did that so many times in the past. I'm going to do this diet. And so I look into what I got to do and I read one book on the diet and I think, okay, now I know how to do this diet. Or maybe it's I bought, what was it? Dr. Ian Smith, right? Ian something, the fat smash diet, like you read one book and you're like, oh, okay, now I'm going to do this diet. And then you do that diet for a couple weeks. And then you feel like, okay, I've lost a ton of weight on this diet for the last couple weeks. I know everything I need to do. And then you get to week 4 or week 6 and the sustainability of the diet starts to wear off. You start to get hungry. You start to crave things. You can't keep up with the activity level they want you to keep up with. And you start to fail the diet. And there's no more continuing on, no more research, no more looking into things, at least for me in the past. And this time, because I challenged myself to do this for 3 years and to invest in my education throughout that 3 years, I've learned so much. And it's not just from watching videos on YouTube or listening to podcasts, but if you look down in the description below and look at all of the books that I've read or listened to through Audible in the past 3 years, and they're highly educational books that were published by doctors and, edited and vetted for facts. And they're not just some guy on YouTube saying, hey, eat this way, you can lose weight like me. They're, backed up scientific books that I feel like helped me learn so much that I didn't understand about the human digestive system and our food systems in general, and really happy with my drive to continue to educate myself. And I have fallen off the wagon a bit as far as reading books in the past 6 months or so, but I did invest a lot of time in the first 2 years of this, reading lots of different books about this way of eating and learning different opinions on this way of eating. And, I've stuck to the way they talk about eating in the first book I ever read, The Pleasure Trap, eating a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet. But I've read Fuhrman's books. I've read McDougall's books and their diet recommendations, and Chef AJ's books. And I've taken little bits and pieces of all of those books, I feel like, and adapted them or put them in my diet in different ways. Like I talked about Chef AJ and doing the vegetables for breakfast, listening to Bulsiewicz and trying to make sure I have a lot of variety of food in my diet, listening to Gregor and him talking about having, his daily dozen and trying to get some of those things more in my diet daily, the supplementation that is important to do when you eat this way. All of those things I use to continue to educate myself. And it just reinforces my resolve to stick with the diet. Jay here says that Ezekiel bread is not a food addiction for you except for the cinnamon raisin Ezekiel bread. Yeah, I've only had the low sodium Ezekiel bread. That's the only Ezekiel bread I've had. But yeah, it was something that I would just go to town with it and eat lots of it. And I think that there is a place in a diet that you can have that type of food. But for me, while trying to lose weight, it's not the best choice I can make with the volume of space that I have in my stomach. Eating the broccoli is a much better choice than eating the Ezekiel bread with nut butter in the long run. Who knows, when I'm 210 pounds, maybe I'll be able to have a little bit of that and maintain the weight that I'm at. But I won't be able to find that out till I get there. So that's the goal now, is to get there. And then the last thing I had on my thing, and again, I talked about it, is I feel that this diet is so effective because I feel better connected to my body and my digestive system. And I know it's crazy, or it feels crazy, like that having something as simple as trace amount of salts this weekend, I feel that it caused me issues. I feel like that might have been why I wasn't feeling the best yesterday. When I eat anything that has sodium, I feel inflamed. When I eat things that have oil in them, I feel inflamed and I feel droggy and just crappy afterwards. And so, and it's not immediately after I have these things, I feel amazing because of the dopamine spike, but it's not until I get off of them that I notice that they were dragging on me. And if you go back and watch my videos and see, through that second year, I guess there were lots of periods of time where I was like, okay, well, I messed up this past weekend. I'm going to get back on track. And 3 days later, I would be like, wow, I feel amazing. Like, it's wild that I didn't do anything except for stay clean on my diet, and I feel better than I did 3 days prior. And to have that kind of connection with my body is amazing, because like I said earlier in the stream, many days I woke up and I just felt like junk. I could barely get out of bed. The first thought was, am I going to be able to walk to the bathroom? My ankles are going to, they're under so much stress. My ankles would be so relieved because, in the morning, it would be the longest period of time where they would not have to be bearing my weight. And then to jump on, with 520 pounds first thing in the morning, started my day off with leg pain, with foot pain. From the first moments of my day, I was dealing with pain and agony and dread. And now those things are gone. I wake up excited to go and get things done for the day. And it's an incredible difference to feel so connected with my health. And even with diets I've done in the past, I feel like I still had those aches and pains and those things, but with this diet, I just feel so much better connected. And it's the most unprocessed diet I think I could possibly be on. And that's what I needed to do. I needed to get away from processed foods, because that was 100% of what I ate was processed. Like there was very, very little fruits and vegetables in my diet. Jay here says, no more morbidly obese. Yes, no more morbidly obese. I'm not sure if where that cutoff is. Let me see if I can look that up. Oh my gosh. Let me see what the different levels are here. Let's see, of course. So 6 foot tall. So 260 pounds is going to put me in the middle of obese, but not severely obese. And 220 should get me down to out of obese and into overweight. I'm halfway through the obese, which is awesome because I was off the chart. I don't even know what Carrie says, yep, you no longer get to post in the super morbidly obese Reddit. Yes, the super morbidly obese Reddit. It was somewhere I used to hang out, and I used to look for advice and look for different things. And um, but I had to get away from there and start looking at actual doctors, start listening to actual scientists that did research and have studied patients, and not listening to just anecdotes of people that, and again, a big part of this whole challenge, this whole channel for me, was sustained weight loss. I've seen lots of examples of people who have lost weight in short periods of time, but it's about keeping the weight off. I know that I can lose weight. I've done amazing job. I've many times in my life since I was 18 years old, I have put my mind to a weight loss goal, and I have achieved that weight loss goal many, many times. But zero of those times did I ever sustain that weight loss or keep it off. Every time the diet or whatever program I was doing suffered catastrophic failure, followed by just rapid weight gain. And every time I ended up heavier than I was the previous time. And so that was a big goal this time, was to not have that rebound, to not have that drop down and then the weight gain. And I really feel like the second year of this challenge helped me to push through where I failed in so many other diets. I was on that same track where the first 11 months I was great. That was 2 months longer than I had ever stuck to a previous diet. But then the diet cracked at that point, or I cracked at that point. It wasn't the diet's fault. And in the past, every time that I messed up my diet, it fell off the rails and I gained all the weight back, but I did not do it this time. I was floating between the same 20 pounds for about 11 months until I rededicated, and I said, you know what? I got to pull my head out of my rear end, and I got to start doing this thing right again. And once I started doing it right again, I started seeing that success, and it's been continuing on. And I'm so happy that I've been able to not only keep that initial 200 pounds that I lost in the first year. I lost that in a year, and then I've kept it off for over a year, and I've continued to lose more weight on top of it. So I'm really happy with how things have gone with this diet. And for me, there's not a more sustainable way to diet. You just have to get the food and eat it. And it doesn't have to be expensive. There's lots of cheap foods out there, rice and beans, potatoes. You don't have to spend a lot of money on it, especially in comparison to what you'd be spending on that same volume of food if it was processed, because once they process it, they add profit to it. And that profit just means it's coming out of your pocket. So, what is my jacket size? I don't know. I haven't been measured for a suit for a very long time. I'm wearing, the shirt I have on now is probably a 3XL. I was able to, or the shirt, it might be the one I have on my intro screen here. Let me see. No. Is it this one? No, I don't. Anyways, I do have a 2XL shirt that I bought recently that I can wear. So I'm about a 2XL. So I'm not sure what that would be. I do have a fairly large chest, so that might affect the sizing of my clothes as well. But I'm not sure what my jacket size is. I'll have to go get fitted for a suit sometime. Maybe if somebody I know gets married. Yeah, maybe a 46 or a 48. I'm honestly, I'm the last person that would know anything about sizing on jackets. On the sizing of it, is that like the measurement around shoulders and everything? I guess, or is that under? Might be under your armpits. I don't know. Anyways, let's see about the effectiveness of my diet. I think that was the big things, just the calorie density, eating large volumes of food has been key. Continuing to keep learning has been very important, and I'm very happy with it. And it's really helped strengthen the resolve in the diet. And then just the feeling, the control I have over my body, um, the knowledge I've gained over the past 2.5 years by continuing to focus on my health and well-being. And it's really, it's been amazing. 260 pounds, I'm right there. I'm so close. I don't think I'll be able to get it this week. I think what am I, 1.6 pounds away, 1.5 pounds away, but we'll see how the weigh-in comes in tomorrow. I got weigh-in Wednesday tomorrow. It's Tuesday already. This week is going to fly by. It says, sounds like you carry weight. Yeah, I'm big boned. Yes, I've always been big boned, as they say. Yeah, and one of the things that ever scared me off of ever getting down to my goal weight of 220 is when I was in high school, in wrestling, they would do, body percentage, fat, whatever. And, I was told that I wouldn't be able to go down to that lower weight class, to get down into the 215. And I took that as a prideful thing at the time, but now I know it probably is very, there's no reason to tell any kid that they couldn't be under 220 pounds. Like it doesn't benefit them in any way. To keep them fat, in hindsight, I'm thinking about this 20 years later and the effect that had, well, couldn't get that light anyways, so why even try? But in reality, there's very few people, especially at 17 years old, that would be unhealthy at 220 pounds. But anyways, I am gonna get out of here for today. I got a couple things to straighten up before I head home, so I want to get those done. I do appreciate everybody following along, checking in, joining in on the conversation, whether you do it live here or you check in afterwards and add comments or questions. I appreciate all of you guys so much. It really helps. That's another part of the effectiveness of my diet I didn't go over, but the accountability that I created. Maybe you need to create your own accountability, and you don't have to do a YouTube channel or social media. Just tell somebody that you're starting a diet. Who is it in your life that you are avoiding telling that you're going to start a diet? For me, it was Carrie. I used to think in my head, I could start my diet tomorrow. But I knew that it was never a reality until I actually looked at Carrie and said, hey, I want to start a diet. Because once I vocalized it and I said it to somebody, then it became a real thing. And so, even if you have to create your own small accountability group with your loved ones to get started, or even getting on here, telling us, or going on to my Discord and just letting us know that you're starting, and, keep us updated on what you're doing, and, help hold you accountable. But yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. If you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you get subscribed to the channel. Click on that bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up this weekend or next week that's more important than your health and your overall well-being. And then a year from now, let's say you do wait and start your diet, after this event. What happens a year from now when another event like it happens? Are you going to go off your diet? Are you just looking to just temporarily change your life, or are you looking to permanently change your life? If you're looking to make a permanent change in your life, then there's no excuse not to start sooner. And so get started now, guys. I will talk to you tomorrow for Weigh In Wednesday.